So now that we have our nicely detailed point cloud, it's time to come in here and clean it up. Now, if you had used the mask as I originally had mine turned on, you wouldn't have too much to clean up here. However, even if you did, there is still going to be a lot that, again, does need cleanup. Now, to have a better idea of what actually needs to be cleaned up, I'm going to shrink the size of these points a bit. They're right now at about size 2. I'm going to bring them down to 1. It's just going to give me a better idea in these really kind of dense areas, because before they're kind of occluding each other. They're still occluding each other now. I can bring them down even lower. You can see that helps a little bit as well. So before I go in and manually begin deleting points, I'm going to try to use the angle threshold and density threshold to try to get rid of as much of this background as possible. The reason it's going to get rid of it pretty decently is because chances are it kept sampling it over and over and over, which means it's pretty dense. And it kind of is moving with the background. The angle changes pretty constantly, so the angle threshold might kind of drop it out as well. Now, I'm keeping display rejected points off because if I keep them on, I basically just kind of see everything everywhere. So I'll leave it off. That way, as I increase this, I can just kind of watch it all slowly disappear. Now I don't want to go too far because I'll begin to actually lose parts of this mesh here. You can see it's gotten pretty sparse now, at least relatively sparse. So I'm just going to try to remove a bit of it, try to make sure this mesh keeps, or mesh, it's not really a mesh, this point cloud keeps some of its integrity there. I'll also begin dialing up the density. And you could see I've removed a decent amount of that background. There's still a bunch that needs to go, but it's definitely cleaned up more than it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these rejected points. I'll just click here, and that should all be gone in just a moment. There's a lot of points to delete, so it does lag a little bit. So how do I get rid of these now, all these kind of extra spare points? Well, we can do that by actually switching modes. At the moment, we're in node mode, which is funny and rhymes, but we actually can switch modes here inside of Nuke right up here. It's this button between the camera and the actual view. And you can see I can go into vertex selection. Now, it's kind of annoying that when in vertex selection, these things are huge. Now, I'm sure there's a way to change this somewhere in the options. I've not really searched it out, but it's going to be pretty easy for me to come in here and grab some of these and just go ahead and hit delete. Now, notice I'm hitting delete and nothing's actually happening. This does happen on occasion. You have to tap at it a few times. I've also noticed on occasion if I have other nodes active here, it may not delete either. Of course, you want to make sure that the point cloud generator is the first node here in the lineup. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab more of these and just tapping delete. Now, it's a little annoying that I can't see the color, which is what really would help me know what's needing to be deleted and what's not. But, I mean, some of it's pretty obvious. I can tell all of that there needs to go. Definitely most of that needs to go. And it's okay if I clip off parts of the back of his head because that's not really anything we're interested in anyway, at least not for this project. So we'll go ahead and knock those out. Chances are I can knock out a bunch of that right there. That one right there. So let's take a look at how this looks. Go back to node. And you can see we have knocked out quite a bit. I'll zoom in here and you can see that I can knock out a bunch of this over here. So we'll go back into vertex and I'll just start hacking away at that there. Okay. All right, let's see what we have now. Oops, go to the node. It's getting better. I can definitely hack away a lot of this back here as well as this little kind of protrusion up at the top. So we'll start deleting that. And most of this can go as well. Again, I can hack away most of that because it's really not going to be of any use to me. Okay, I'll do a little bit of cleanup on this side as well. We definitely don't need parts of the shoulder over here. So back to vertex, and I'll hack away at that. So just like with many of the other steps, like cleaning up the tracking markers and things like that, you can obviously spend as much time as you need to go ahead and get this kind of cleaned up and pruned to your own tastes. What we're really looking for is to eliminate as many points as possible that have very little to do with the overall face. Now, I don't mind if some of these light color points get stuck here because it really isn't affecting him right now. They're really in the same area where, they may have skin and things like that, so it doesn't really matter. They're just color, really, and that color is not going to play much of a role. And again, I can always try to increase more angle threshold to try to cut away a little bit more. You can see that definitely got rid of a bit right there. I think it's auto-saving right now, so this could be a little slow, most likely for just a second here. But also, I don't want to end up in a situation where I'm just cutting away too many areas. So I might bring that back down a little bit. And again, the density can help us out as well to knock away some of those. But anyway, what I'm going to do is, rather than continuing to do this here over and over and over, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit more between clips. And when we come back, we'll take a look at how we can now take this point cloud and actually make use of it. 'Cause right now it's just a bunch of points in space. So we'll take a look at how we can turn this into a mesh. So I'll see you guys in the next clip.